2025 has come to an end. We are now in 2026. And all I gotta say is pat yourself on the back, my little degenerates, for that. You made it. You should be proud. But can I just take a moment to like reminisce about 2025 in terms of gaming? Can we just take that minute to reminisce a little bit? I mean, where do I even begin? 2025, in terms of gaming, had a lot of moments. Some good, some bad. We lost 2 legends in the gaming industry. We saw the retirement of a few legends in the gaming industry. We saw the closure of some really amazing developers. We saw the buyout of some developers. Some questionable buyouts. And overall, just a lot of questionable things that happened in 2025. But to me, the biggest concern, or the biggest thing I took out of 2025 was how expensive gaming got in 2025. Now, if anybody knows me, I've always been the advocate of, I don't give a fuck how much anything costs. I'll pay for it no matter what the cost is. But now it's gotten to the point where it's affecting even like my friends. And I'm just looking at the status of the gaming industry as right now. And I saw a lot of weird shit that I'm just like, man, did gaming become a rich man's hobby now? And the sad part is that gaming got more expensive, but the quality hasn't been upgraded. It hasn't had any innovations, I would say. And we're paying for more for less. I mean, take for instance the big 3, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. I think out of all the companies this year, fucking Microsoft had the weakest year, in my humble opinion. They had some good stuff, don't get me wrong, there was some good stuff. But man, they were the prime example of like gaming became an expensive ass hobby. Like, take for instance their accessories and their console now. They have raised the price of their console 3 times throughout the whole of 2025 year. Like, it is to the point where the Xbox Series X costs $650 if you want to get the standard edition, the 1 terabyte edition. But if you want to get the 2 terabyte edition, the special edition, it costs $800. $800. What are we doing? What are we smoking over there? Over at Microsoft. And to make matters worse is that if you're part of the ecosystem of Xbox, I felt like this was the year where Xbox just literally gave up. Because then they confirmed that most, if not all their games going forward, are coming to other platforms. And we knew this was going to happen. Hell, I reported on it multiple times that Xbox was going to go on the third-party route. But to actually see it, it really was shocking to see Halo 1 being remade and seeing that it's also coming to PlayStation. That was, to me, the camel that broke the straw's back. Like, that's the moment where I was like, holy shit. I was like, they literally gave up. The console war is over. And, you know, I felt like as you get older, the console war is stupid as fuck. But it was just kind of like silly. It was like so weird to see that they just threw up the white flag and it's now like, hey, we're doing third party all our games are coming to other consoles. You know, they're going to be on PC. But hey, you know, it is what it is. And then, you know, to make things even more worse, them raising the prices of Xbox Game Pass. It was like a roller coaster ride for Xbox. You know, not to say that there wasn't also great stuff for Xbox. These motherfuckers announced their handheld device, which I thought is a cool idea, even though it costs like $1,000, you know, $1K. But I still think the idea is cool. But then on the flip side of that, they shut down the team that was working on the Perfect Dark game that I was looking forward to. One of the most anticipated games I was looking forward to. That whole studio got shut down and everybody got fired. So it's like, what the fuck? It was just like a rough year to be an Xbox fan, I felt. But they were like the main big people of prices raising. And again, the prices raising, you know, also had to do with the factor of the tariffs. And that caused a few of bullshit to come out of it. Such as Nintendo also having to raise their price for their console. The Switch 2 was a console that I was extremely excited about. Was looking forward to it. And then leading up, we were all excited. Then we had to get a delay because we had to figure out how much the price was going to be. And it came up to like $450. And that wasn't the original price that it was going to be at, but they had to raise it because of the tariffs, and that caused a delay in shipment and whatnot. But then Nintendo's trying to get slick and say, "Hey, Mario Kart, you know that game that you fucking love? You know that game that you love? The newest Mario Kart World game? Yeah, that game is $80. What the fuck? Like, it was just like jarring what the fuck these companies were doing. It was so jarring. It was so jarring to see Nintendo like just say, okay, we're raising the prices of the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, plus, you know, our game is gonna be even more. And then we had the whole controversy with the whole fucking like game key card situation. At first I was so confused on what the fuck happened until I realized what it was. It's basically, even if you buy the game physical, you don't actually own the game. The cartridge don't have the games on it. It's just unlocked. It's just basically a game activation card. That's it. That's all you're doing, is just downloading the digital version when you get the key card. That is it. And it's just like, bruh, come on, Nintendo. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you guys like this? Why are y'all so fucking weird? Why are y'all the weirdos of the gaming industry? Microsoft is fucking like lost in the plot, and you know, fucking Nintendo once again showing that they don't really care about game preservation like Microsoft. That's at least one point I'll give Microsoft. With this whole game card shit, they basically prove once again they don't care. And that's really disappointing, really disheartening, and it honestly kind of ruined upon the whole $80 and the price raise of the Switch 2. Kind of ruined the excitement for the Switch 2 launch, which was supposed to be something incredible, something amazing. It kind of ruined it. But of course, you know, I can't talk shit about any of the big three without also critiquing or talking about fucking Sony. Oh boy, Sony had a weird year as well. You know, they had to raise the price. And now the fucking PS5 Pro is like $800. Again, why are you raising the price when you literally have no games? The only big games you had was Death Stranding, which is a niche audience game, and Ghost of Yote, which we're going to talk more about. But those were not games enough to me that's warrant to say, hey, go out and buy a PS5 Pro. Once again, Sony did a poor job at selling me and the audience, or selling anybody who's not in the PlayStation ecosystem, on why the fuck we should own a PS5 Pro. You know? Like, just really weird, really just weird energy from Sony. And then also Sony kind of like shot themselves in the foot because they finally realized that, oh, maybe it was a bad idea to get Bungie. Because then they realized that they lost like $204 million on Bungie. Because Bungie hasn't done anything. And they just been letting go people. It's like, again, it's this stupid shit. And speaking of Bungie, since it is part of the PlayStation brand, technically speaking, Bungie decided, we're lazy. We don't got to do shit. So you know what? We're going to plagiarize and steal art assets from a Twitter user. We're going to steal their work. The Twitter user found out and was like, listen, this would have all been cool if y'all just had asked my permission. So now they just embarrass themselves even more and embarrass Sony even more. So again, all three of the companies had some fucked up dumb shit. So it really just honestly was a sad year. Some good moments, but again, sad year for the big three of gaming. Like, really, it's just a sad year. There was some other fuck ups. There was also some real fuck ups in terms of the gaming industry. Take, for instance, fucking Warner Brothers gaming division. Despite, Hogwarts Legacy and them having Mortal Kombat 1 development stopped, even though it was promised we would get multiple different seasons. But it just stopped because of Warner Brothers having absolutely no money, and also the critical backlash of Mortal Kombat 1 really probably hurt Warner Brothers. But that wasn't all. We had the multiverses getting canceled after it got shut down and asked people to pay for cosmetics and whatnot. Then they closed shop, and then we came back months later and was like, yeah, we're back, and here's the full fucking game, only to then be canceled. It's like, bro, what are we doing? But to me, the news that hurt me from Warner Brothers, the shit that just had me like, bro, like, what are we doing? It's when the studio Monolith Production got closed down. This shit hurt me just as much as hearing, the team that was working on The Perfect Dark from Xbox got shut down. This hurt just as much. Because if you don't know who Monolith is, these are the guys who have done incredible fucking games. These guys are literally underdogs in my humble opinion. These are the guys that did the Fear games, one of the coolest FBF, first-person shooter games you'll ever play in your life. And then they made a movie tie-in game, a little movie tie-in game that probably people played, or probably with Shadow of Mordor, and creating one of the coolest fucking game mechanics I've ever seen in a game, period, that has never been implemented because they can't, because Warner Brothers has it on lockdown, meaning nobody can use it, license it, so nobody can use it. The Nemesis system, which is up to this day, I wish we can use, that every developer can use. And these guys were currently working on a game I was excited for, but we heard no information on it, which was the Wonder Woman game. And because of that, that game is now canceled. So again, we lost an incredible game development team. These guys were pioneers of some of great enemy AI, and just one of the coolest fucking feature with the Nemesis system. And how they even made a fucking horror game. I totally forgot about Condemn. They did Condemn, Criminal Origins. That game is creepy. The level with the mannequins, I'm never touching that game again. But it was just so heartbreaking to see that. To just see that a talented developer not only are gone, but now they can't even give us a product that they worked their ass off for. And I think those two announcements of the closure of the Perfect Dark developers and this cancellation of the Wonder Woman game really put a sour taste in my mouth and really hurt, man. It really hurt my soul to see this, man. Really did. But of course, I can't just get mad at fucking Warner Brothers. I gotta also get mad at EA and their bullshit. Because EA also decided, you know about that Black Panther guy, the most popular fucking Marvel character. And we had to deal with Sony to do it. Yeah, fucking cancel that shit. That shit got canceled. Luckily, they didn't do like Perfect Dark. It showed gameplay, because if they had shown gameplay and it looked fire, I would have been even more tight. But that got canceled this year. And that really irritated me. But again, it was so early in development. I guess that one didn't hurt so bad, but it was still kind of annoying. But of course, EA and their bullshit, because fucking Dragon Age the Veilguard did so poorly to them. The Dragon Age franchise is officially on ice. We will probably never see it again. They downsized practically a lot, if not all, of fucking BioWare. So BioWare is a shell of its former self, even more so. And the only thing they have from BioWare is literally Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect game, and that is it. Mass Effect is the only hanging thread that is keeping that company alive, or that section of the company alive, the BioWare company alive, and that is it. After playing Dragon Age the Veilguard personally for myself and never beating it because I just didn't like it. I don't like the writing. I don't like the characters. And to me, that's the hallmark of what makes a BioWare game, is the writing. This is do or die. This is the final pendulum that will either make or break BioWare. And I gotta be honest, I'm not too excited. But maybe, the Saudi Arabia will help them, because recently Saudi Arabia actually bought out EA, which I found that very interesting and also concerning, because Saudi has some questionable viewpoints on LGBT and other sexes and women and whatnot. Like, they're very weird. So it's like that's questionable. But it's not only just them buying out EA. They also bought out fucking Evo from Sony. Sony was like, fuck it, you can have it. And as someone who actually went to Evo last year, it was very jarring to hear like some of the people I met there, and some of them are LGBTQ people, and just having a ball and whatnot, to hear now like, hey, now that they've been bought out, it's even questionable if they want to even participate in Evo. It's so weird. It was like a double-edged sword. It's like, on the one hand, it's like, oh wow, yeah, they're getting funded, but who they're getting funded by is like questionable at best. It got to the point where even like one of my favorite YouTubers, Maximilian dude, came out and said for 2026 he may not even come to Evo. Most likely he won't be anticipating Evo because of the Saudi Arabia buying out Evo. So again, a lot of weird buyouts that happened this year. Not to mention Ubisoft hasn't been doing all that great this year, to the point where Tencent owns half of Ubisoft IPs. So Far Cry, Rainbow Six, fucking Assassin's Creed, all their big no IPs, I think they own now. And I'm just like, wow, like Tencent owns half of Ubisoft. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is shocking news, because they haven't been doing all so great. They have not been doing all too great this year. Yeah, they had a win with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It came out and it sold really well, and it had a great player base numbers and whatnot, but it just wasn't enough for them to get saved, and they got half of their shit bought out. And I could just imagine what's gonna happen in the future, and this year in particular, what's gonna happen to them in terms of a developer. Of course, there was also some really dumb and like silly moments in gaming. Like, for instance, the Splitgate 2 developer or president comes out when it was Summer Games Fest and literally had a hat talking about make FPS great again, and was talking about like, oh, he wanted his game to be like a classic FPS game shooter, only to just do like the typical modern day trend of live service game, which is having a shit ton of cosmetics, and also added a battle royale. And also for the cosmetics, there was a bundle pack for the cosmetics that was overpriced, and he's talking about he didn't know about it. It was just so dumb. Everyone clowned on him for days. To me, that shit was hilarious, but also kind of bad, because that was a game I wanted to try out, because it did remind me of Halo, only thing with portals, and I was looking forward to that. But after that shit, it was a no-go for me. And then you had, once again, Microsoft doing some bullshit and the dumb shit with Activision when it came on to Call of Duty Black Ops 7, just shitting the bed, like really honestly stinking up the bed so bad that you had to have a fucking Activision come out and saying they're no longer going to be doing a back-to-back release of Call of Duty games. They're probably going to wait it out for 2 years and then make another Call of Duty game. That shit was just funny as fuck. Hilarious to me. Again, Mind's Eye, like a lot of people got caught up with that game because, and a few of my friends too, they got caught up with that game because they were like, oh my god, it's being funded by, or the producer of Rockstar Games is going to be funding and helping that game. And I'm just like, you mean a producer, not a actual developer, not an actual insider, a producer. I'm like, okay, like, does he matter? And sure enough, it didn't matter. The game became a miserable flop with a bunch of fucking glitches and bugs. It was so bad. I literally had no energy to even like look at it. Anytime like people would like try to show me that shit or I see it on screen, I'd be like, nope, just skip, pass by. No, it was so awful. It literally, I think, would probably be the worst game that came out this year. The only sad part, it did lose. People lost jobs because of it, but man, it was just embarrassing all overall. I think the one that hurt the most was Vampire the Masquerade 2. Even though the developers came out and said they had no idea what the fuck they were doing because that shit was in development hell for years upon years. That shit was on so much development hell that the company who made the game lost $37 million because they had no idea what the fuck they were making, and the game came out kind of a mess because of that. So again, sad moments in video game history, bro, but also hilarious moments. What wasn't so hilarious, however, for me personally, that actually aggravated me was Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Wild was fucking awesome. Like, it came out, it sold gangbusters. And then you play the PC port, and the PC port is unoptimized. Again, once again, talking about that idea of gaming getting more expensive, but we're still dealing with the same old bullshit. And funny enough, the PC port won't be fixed until February 2026. You can play it, but it's gonna be a fucking slideshow, and it's crazy to me that Capcom thought this was okay to release that game, knowing that it wasn't ready to go for the PC audience. Which I hate to break it to a lot of console people, PC audience is also a big factor into the sales of the console. It's not just the console users, it's the PC audience, because PC audience is very big now that the entry to getting into PC audience is so big. But speaking of PC audience, we also was suffering from fucking price hikes, because literally fucking AMD announced that because of chip shortages, you know, they're probably going to be raising the price of their 50 series cards, you know, their graphics cards. So, and you're asking yourself, well, why are they doing that? It's because AI is so blowing up so huge, and more people has to use the GPU and RAM and all that. RAM prices have been skyrocketing. Usually you can get a RAM price for like what? Like 200 at the most? 100 at the most? Maybe even less than that. Now they're talking about 900. You're paying almost like 900 or some for RAM, because everyone's buying RAM for AI, because AI takes up so much RAM uses. So if you're a PC player or PC owner, you're getting the short end of the stick as well as just as much as the console people. And again, console people shouldn't be celebrating about this shit either, because they can easily say, okay, especially you know Xbox, they ready to pull that trigger any second, even though they ain't doing that much. They're quick to say, oh, well, we'll just raise the prices of our consoles. They can do it. And so it is a rough time to be a PC gamer as well. You have to pay even more. I would highly recommend, if you are getting into PC gaming, you better start building your gaming PC now, because it's gonna be rough in the next few years. And it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be spicy for these next few years. So I would recommend everybody get on it right now. But to me, that's not even just the hardest news if we're gonna even talk about AI. And we're gonna talk about AI in terms of gaming. We gotta talk about the moment where both Sandfall Studios and Larian Studios both kind of admitted that they are using AI for their games. And that led into a whole big discussion or a whole big uproar on AI use. And I gotta be honest, the discussion of AI use has been very piss poor. No one's willing to really hear each other out. No one's really willing to talk about it without immediately just demonizing it, without having nuanced conversation. And I think a perfect example of that would be Sandfall's studio. The creators of one of my favorite video games this year, Exposition 33. They had used AI as an asset of the game. And when they did that and they sent it to I think the Indie Awards, immediately was disqualified for winning Game of the Year once indie developer, the Indie Award show found out that they use AI. And I just looked at that, I was like, that was kind of like not fair, because they did remove the asset placement. They wouldn't really use like generated AI. They used AI asset placements, and was removed the day of the award show or before the award. They were removed like literally in the second update for the game. They removed it way before anybody even found it, and you can't even spot it unless you go to Veneer, one of the areas in the game, and that's very early in the game. Once you leave that area, you don't go back to that area until the very end of the game. And I just felt like it was just their way of the indie developers, their way of like punishing AI use, when it's very clear that most, if not all, video games being done now uses AI. And it just created this whole big nothing burger out of nothing. It really created this situation where a lot of people just can't even talk about it. Hell, even like I had a huge conversation about it with one of my homeboys. I couldn't get a word in without there being such a vitriolic hatred towards AI. And I feel like we can all agree we're not a fan of AI, but we can also come together and be like, we need to have a proper discussion on when is the right time and when is the wrong time to use AI. And I think that's what Larian was trying to get at. The Larian developers were trying to get out. I think they were trying to be vulnerable. I think they were trying to be sincere. But some developers and some gamers did not want to hear it. And until we have that discussion and willing to open and be honest and have a discussion about AI without being, so vitriol towards each other, we're not going to get anywhere. I looked at the whole discussion on AI in gaming to be very disappointing. Very disappointing that we can't have a genuine discussion about the topic in a nuanced, civil way. Just sad. And I think what's my greatest fear with the lack of discussion on how AI is used in gaming is that when you can't have that discussion, well, then you're just going to have developers and everybody just be sneaky about it. And then that's just going to create even a bigger situation that I feel like could have been avoided if we had that communication and had that discussion. So I really get it. I get every side of the argument. The people who praise AI, and I get also the people who despise it. I'm not a fan of AI, but I do think there's a ways we can use it, and I do think there's ways that it can benefit us. But how could we possibly have that discussion if people so afraid of stepping on each other's fucking toes and shit, and being upset when anybody talks about it? And it was just sad. It was just very sad to have this discussion, have this. And let me not also forget about you, Rockstar. Rockstar. You think you being a little shady just because you got everyone bewitched about fucking Grand Theft Auto 6? But I know recently you guys been doing some really shady shit with the whole fucking firing employees that were asking to create a union, and you gave no details on why you did it, no details on what protocol they breached, what agreement they breached, but all these guys wanted to do is just get paid for their work. And so I don't know, I think that's shady. I think that's kind of crazy that you guys are hiding up shit. And I don't know. Rockstar Studio. I don't know. Y'all some shady motherfuckers. You may have everyone blind with GTA 6 and like, oh my god, GTA 6 is gonna be amazing. Oh my god. But I kind of see through the bullshit. So let's not kid ourselves right there. Now, this next part is gonna be kind of tough to do, because I wanted to talk about the losses we've had in 2025. So please forgive me if I get a little emotional. One of the losses we've had in 2025. But in 2025, we lost two great developers, and we saw the retirement of two other video game influencers in the video game landscape. We lost Vince Zampella late last year. It was a tough pill to swallow. He got into a car accident, I should say. And for those that don't know who Vince is, I mean, anybody who's black should get up your fucking ass. If you're a ball and gun gamer, you should be getting up your ass and giving this man nothing but salute. Because he is the co-creator of the Call of Duty series. He's also the founder and co-founder of Respawn Entertainment. This guy is the pioneer for some of the greatest first-person shooters of all time, which is the Call of Duty franchise. You wouldn't have had Call of Duty blow up as big as it did, especially with Modern Warfare 2 and the Modern Warfare series in general, without Vince at the forefront of that. And for me, I've never been into Call of Duty like that. I've played a few of the Call of Duty games. But even just taking out Call of Duty, this guy gave us incredible games at Respawn. I'm talking about fucking Apex Legends. I'm talking about fucking Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, one of the best single-player first-person shooter campaigns I've ever played. Like, off the chart. That game's campaign is bad ass. It is so much fun. There's a reason why we begged and plead for a Titanfall 3, because Titanfall 2's campaign was so fucking awesome. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to give him his credit, because he gave us the Fallen Order series. This guy has time and time again has dropped nothing but sure bangers and iconic games that we have treasured for years and years in time. So his death really hit hard for me, not because of, you know, he's a Call of Duty guy, but because of what he's done for the whole gaming industry. Gaming wouldn't be as big enough and be as big as talked about if it wasn't for his contribution to the gaming industry. So for Vince, I just want to say thank you for giving us Call of Duty, despite how I've ever felt about it. Thank you. But thank you most importantly for founding Respawn, giving these developers a chance to make incredible games, giving me Fallen Order franchise, and giving me Titanfall. Titanfall is my shit. So his loss hit hard. So I want to just say thank you. But his death wasn't the only death that hit, and in fact, I think the death I'm about to talk about hit even more. This one hit hard. This one hit so hard, I couldn't even talk about it when it came out, but now I'm ready to kind of talk about it, which was Tomonobu Hideaki passing in October. What can I really say that hasn't already been said about the man? I think for me personally, Hideaki, for those that don't know who he is, he was the creator of Dead or Alive series. So the Dead or Alive fighting games, Dead or Alive beach volleyball games. But to me, his crowning jewel for me, and the game that really, really put me on his radar, was his reboot Ninja Gaiden series. Hideaki was, in my humble opinion, a true master ninja. Because we all make fun of Hideaki on the whole, like the whole meme that goes around with him, which is like, oh, the game testers said that the game was hard, so I made it even harder. But Hideaki was truly one of those game developers that always knew you will rise above the challenge. He made his games hard because he just knew you will rise above the challenge. And it always fascinated me about this cat. He was such a fascinating cat. I remember watching him back in the G4 days, and he would always have this energy, this Rockstar, I don't give a fuck type of energy, that I'm gonna make a game that's gonna blow all these other games out, and I don't give a fuck what no one said. That's the energy Hideaki gave off. And he gave off this cool swagger energy that was unrivaled. It got to the point where I remember I used to hate Hideaki. I used to hate this motherfucker because he would talk so much shit on Devil May Cry. He would talk so much shit in particular about fucking Tekken. And sure enough, all that shit talking he did, he was always able to back it up, because I always felt secretly I hated this motherfucker until I played Dead or Alive 4. And I was like, motherfucker, he found the way to make the environment interactables in a fighting game, in a 3D fighting game, work. He found the way how to make it work. Tekken 4 tried to do it and it failed because some of the time the hit detection was off in certain moves. This motherfucker figured it out, and it was like, motherfucker, I hate this man. And I always hated him because he always used to talk shit about Tekken, not realizing him and Harada, the producer of Tekken, had this wonderful friendship. In fact, when he was leaving Team Ninja, that was the first person he hit up and told him about his departure. And ever since then, you know, Team Ninja, when Hideaki was there, Team Ninja was above and beyond. They were on the top of their fucking game over there. All right. And in fact, I would say even when he left and they started teetering away from Ninja Gaiden and they started focusing on other games like the Nier series, his core philosophies is still intact in Team Ninja up to this day. When you play any of their newer games, especially the Neo series, his core philosophy of challenging the player but making you feel cool and badass about it is what made his games so impactful. This is the reason why I see so many people when earlier in 2025 when I did my video on the different releases of Ninja Gaiden 2, why so much people probably disagreed with me because they love his work so much. He was so pioneer on what he's doing. Even though I disagreed with sometimes his philosophy, and sometimes I don't agree with some of the things he used to say or whatever. Hideaki was still the champion of character action game. He was still the coolest dude when it came on to fighting games. But I always felt like Hideaki had this chip over his shoulder that it was do or die. It was coincidental. It was dead or alive. He had to make sure that his game stand out above all of the rest. This is why they were exclusive to Xbox at one point, because he just loved the Xbox system. He really had games that were difficult because he believed that you could overcome it. His games always stood out in terms of sex appeal. He always had, very beautiful, luxurious women in his games. And I think he did that because he really just wanted his games to stand out, with the sex appeal, which is something that many games, I would honestly say, especially in the day and age we live in, especially in the US, are kind of scared to do right now, is to make their females look very over the top sexiness and whatnot. He just had this aura and this affection to the gaming landscape that I think is generally not talked about. We talk about Kojima and what Kojima has done to the gaming landscape, but I will never, ever talk bad or say that his games were not impactful to me. Even though I disagree with some of his game philosophies, I will never say that he was not ever a GOAT. And he gave me one of my favorite character action game of all time, Ninja Gaiden 2. And up to this day, I still praise his work. I love Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive 4 in particular. That's my favorite one because that's my first one. And it is so sad to see him gone. It's a true, over-the-top, crazy, unga-bunga Hideaki game that lived up to his pedigree as a game developer, like Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden 2 to me was his last great, amazing Ninja Gaiden action game he did. And I think my final thing I'll say on this is that I think the reason why this death hit me so hard is because Hideaki really was this guy that played the character action game genre differently, while Devil May Cry wanted you to be very stylish and pull off the most cool moves and look cool while doing it by having a style meter, forcing you to get better in terms of making up your own combos and whatever. God of War was very brutal and very has this very epic, grander scale tale that it is trying to do. Ninja Gaiden was all about that difficulty and pushing the player to use every trick in the book in order to win. And as you get better and as you get more comfortable with the game, you will eventually be that badass super ninja that you want to be. And for that, I'm going to miss Hideaki so much. I'm gonna miss him so much. So, R.I.P. Hideaki. You are very missed, and Godspeed. Godspeed, and I wish his family and everybody nothing but the best. On a more lighter tone, lighter news, we had some people leaving the gaming industry. You know, Tekken 8 hasn't been really that good this year. Tekken 8 really been struggling ever since that season 2 update. But I think the blow that really hurt the most was seeing Harada, the game director / producer of Tekken for 31 years, finally leaves Tekken and the company, Bandai Namco, after 30 years of service. I could not be any more happier for him. He gave me a wonderful franchise that up to this day I still play, even though, you know, season 2 has been rough. We're waiting and seeing how season 3 will be playing out. But man, he gave me some of my favorite fighting game of all time, you know. And it was so cool to see Tekken be played on the stage at EVO 2015. That year I went. And just being there, seeing the Armor King revealed, the new character being revealed there is so wonderful. So wonderful. And so I thank him for all he's done for making my childhood fucking awesome. By showing me how 3D fighting games can be, showing me a diverse roster of different people from around the world, and more importantly, made me connect with people that I never even thought I would be able to connect to. And because of Tekken and his contribution to Tekken, made me travel and go to a destination I've always wanted to go to. So thank you, Harada, for your service, and I wish you nothing but the best of what you're doing. I cannot wait to see what you do, or if you are just gonna stay in retirement. But whatever the case may be, you earned it. You given us one hell of a fighting game. You will always be the king of Iron Fist. So Nintendo also had to say goodbye to a long-lasting friend, which was Doug Bowser, the CEO of the Nintendo branch of America. He finally is retiring after 44 years in the game. Congratulations to him. He's put one hell of a resume for overseeing that fucking company for all that time. So I thank him for all he's done for Nintendo, and his contribution will not be taken for granted. And I thank him so much for all he's done. But it wasn't all bad, you know? It wasn't all bad for 2025. There was some really good moments. There was some moments that legitimately had me like on the floor, like ready to fucking pass out with how cool some announcements were. There were some stuff that I thought would never happen. And then there were moments that gave me full of hope for the gaming industry as a whole. And, you know, starting off, Netflix Devil May Cry, you know, regardless of how you feel about that anime and whatnot, if you hate it or you love it or whatever you have felt, the simple fact that it got more people to play Devil May Cry as a Devil May Cry fan made me extremely happy. It extremely boosted the sales of the HD collection of Devil May Cry 4, and in particular Devil May Cry 5 saw a massive boost because of the anime. And I couldn't just be more happier. And it also led for Capcom to really confirm, in my humble opinion, that Devil May Cry 6 or a Devil May Cry 1 remake is currently in the works. Because they even said, like, hey, we want to take some of our classic games or games that, in particular, like the Phoenix Wright game, Devil May Cry, and Mega Man, we want to take those games to the next level and have more new games come out for them. So the sky's the limit, but it really made me happy seeing Devil May Cry get way more spotlight and get tons of love, and also bringing new people to the franchise. And I all have to thank Adi Shankar a little bit for that. As much as people don't want to give him his credit, I kind of want to give him his credit for the anime, regardless of how you feel about it. And you know what's funny? As soon as that article came out about how, oh, we want to do more games of Mega Man and Devil May Cry and Phoenix Wright, as soon as the Game Awards happened, we got a new announcement that a new Mega Man game is on the works. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is why I say I have total faith that Devil May Cry is getting a new game. Like, this united the spark of Capcom's other IPs. So the sky's the limit on what we could see. And yeah, this game is not coming out until 2027. That's fine. Let them cook. But that announcement was the dopest announcement from Capcom. One of the dopest announcements. Not the dopest announcement, but one of the coolest announcements. Speaking of Devil May Cry 3 received a mod. The mod community came together and they did this incredible mod called Devil May Cry 3 Crimson, which is basically everything the fucking Devil May Cry 3 Switch edition did, but added even more. They added Minertia from Devil May Cry 4, all these new stuff, new moves, just cool new stuff, a new health bar, a new everything, style switching that actually makes sounds and everything. Cool stuff for this re-release, and it was so awesome. I just have to give a shout out today. I'm also going to put a link in the description box below if you do want to know or check out what exactly this mod is. It's really fucking cool. And again, just bringing the Devil May Cry community together more, making us flourish more. And I just could not believe, to me, this mod is a definitive way how you play Devil May Cry 3. Like, it literally makes Devil May Cry 3 feel like a completely different game with this mod. But I only recommend this mod if you beaten Devil May Cry 3 on your first time, then your second time, go crazy with this mod. This mod is insane in terms of what it does. But we're not done with the more Capcom glazing, because, you know, I'm a Capcom fan. I might as well keep glazing them. You know, as much as Monster Hunter on the PC fucking sucks, World fucking sucks, and on the PC it's really having some problem, I gotta say, it shattering records and basically holding the crown for the best-selling Capcom game of all time is pretty crazy. Seeing Wilds do that is pretty crazy. It made 10 million in its first month, and then it shattered records on Steam, peaking over like 1.3 million logins. Like, so many people was playing this shit. So again, I need them to get this shit together for Capcom. Capcom, get your shit together, man. You have people who likes this game, you know, is constantly getting new updates. So fix the fucking PC port. Come on, guys. Come on. You know, like, you got something cool here. And to see Monster Hunter, like, grow and become, like, this big hit game that was originally on handhelds and whatnot, to see it blow up this big, it's extraordinary. It's so great, and I'm so happy, man. I'm looking forward to finally being able to fucking play the game once they fix the fucking PC port. Hopefully they fix it before another Capcom game comes out. And on February the 27th, Resident Evil 9 drops. That announcement, the whole lead up to that announcement, oh my goodness, that was one of the coolest announcements of this year. like one of the coolest announcements, the lead up, having Lady Demetress, voice actress, pull up and is like hinting that that a Resident Evil game is in the works, hinting at the Summer Games Fest, and then we finally get our reveal that, oh yeah, it's Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Can't wait. Leon is back. I'm excited. That announcement had me hyped. It got me so hyped that I went back and actually go and play. And I'm currently, as of the time of this recording, still playing all, with some exceptions, the Resident Evil mainline timeline games. I'm just so proud of Capcom. I think Capcom has been killing it lately. They have really earned their title of Cat Gods, and they've just been doing great stuff. There are some things that need to do better though, and that is the optimization for their open world games. Because fucking Monster Hunter, I don't know what the fuck happened. Other than that, that's a cool moment for them, man. But then we also have like exciting news from PlayStation. We finally have Herman Schultz getting the fuck out of there as the fucking CEO of Sony Interactive. Thank God, get him out of there. And now we have Hideaki Nishino is his name. Hopefully, I'm saying that brother's name right. He is now our new president and CEO of Sony's PlayStation branch, the CEO of PlayStation. Thank God, because Herman Holtz, our original CEO, literally was on some bullshit when he literally was like, okay, well, now we're gonna do fucking all these live service shit, and fucking Concord was like, yeah, that was great. This fake positivity bullshit. Herman Schultz will still be on, and he's just gonna be overseeing the PlayStation different branches in terms of developers. But other than that, he's just like doesn't have that much say as he did before. So I'm ultimately happy about that. Hopefully we can see some really good and exciting things for PlayStation. But another positive, despite all the bullshit with Nintendo, the Switch 2 is finally here, man. And I gotta say, it's a rocky start, but man, is it finally good to finally play a Nintendo game that runs 60 FPS. It is so fucking good. And then when you play it on handheld mode, or in console mode, as I call it, it's putting the game on at least 1440p or at least 4K. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. I've been praising for this. I've been waiting for it. And the games have been cool, man. Like Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is back in 3D, like with Donkey Kong Bonanza. That game is kind of fire. I played a little bit of it so far. Fucking fire. Metroid is back. Samus, the cat, she's back with Metroid Prime 4 that came out late this year, but fucking awesome. And I have high hopes. We got other cool games. We have Fire Emblem game is in the works. Motherfucker, I have total faith in the Switch 2. It started off a little rocky, but I have faith that this year, 2026, will be its year. But I'm just glad it's out here. It's better than the Switch 1, that's for sure. And I can't wait to see what this console has in store for us. But speaking of Nintendo, holy shit, can we talk about Nintendo actually having the fucking balls to actually finally take Xenoblade Chronicles X out of the fucking dungeon and finally re-releasing it for everyone to play? Fuck yes. Like, finally, all the I think at this point, all the Xenoblade games are here. And now you can play each and every one of the Xenoblade games. What would be also kind of cool if you can get to play the past games, but that's beside the point. This is awesome. This is cool. Shout outs to Nintendo for this. I've been really, really excited. I'm really, really excited to one day, after I've done my Resident Evil marathon, to play all the Xenoblade games. I already played 1 and 2. Now I just gotta play the DLC for 2 and the DLC for and 3, and then the DLC for 3. So I'm looking forward to finally playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, because I know tons of my friends have said nothing but awesome things about Xenoblade Chronicles X. So I'm looking forward to that. Then this year was really the celebration of the ninja. Like, so many cool fucking ninja games of the most iconic 2 ninja games came back with a fucking vengeance. Like, Ninja Gaiden started off with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which was like a re-release remix version of Ninja Gaiden, the original Ninja Gaiden 2, with some new stuff and whatnot. It was basically just a modded version of the Sigma version, but more in line with Ninja Gaiden 2, the OG one, but still not perfect. But that was okay, because then they topped it off with fucking Ragebound. Ragebound is like this cool fucking like speed run fucking game where you can just bounce off your enemies and shit. Oh, so good. And then like a week later, we had Shinobi from Sega. Sega like fucking like remembering Shinobi, and Shinobi is fucking badass. You want like more combo heavy, like a beat 'em up hack and slash type of feel. Shinobi was the shit. It was so fucking awesome. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then to top it all off, to the big shebang, Ninja Gaiden 4. Oh my goodness, the game the game was a straight up banger. From beginning to end. I have my critiques of the game. It's all sunshine and rainbows, but it was so fucking awesome. I had a smile from beginning to end of that game, and it would have been my game of the year if it wasn't for a little game that came out in 2025. You know, I know you guys probably didn't hear about it, but it was this little game done by only 33 motherfuckers or 30 people, developer, and they eventually sweep the Game Awards show, and that was Exposition 33. Exposition 33 comes out, and it's like blowing up. Everyone keeps talking about this fucking game. And before the Game Awards show happened or anything happened, it took me like 4 months or 5 before I got my chance to play the game. And Jesus, this game like legitimately gave me so much hope and like video game development, but we're not gonna talk about right now. We're gonna just continue. But this game was a straight up banger from beginning to end. Then we have like fucking like GTA 6 got delayed, but that first trailer they showed was fucking incredible. Was really good, really good. I was like, oh, okay, like this. I was afraid that this is gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be like GTA 5, but no, it looks like they stepped it up a lot, and it was so good. It literally had like 4 475 million views in one day. That's how big GTA is, and I'm just like, damn, people are excited for this game. I'm excited for this game after seeing like that trailer. Hopefully it comes out in 2026. That shit might get pushed back to 2027. I ain't gonna lie to you. But you know what game actually came out this year? Silksong. Silksong came out. Like, it actually made the fucking release date, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, get out of town. Get out of town. They actually made the fucking release date. Holy shit. They actually made it to 2025. It actually came out, and it was so monumental that other indie developers, out of respect, delayed their game, so they would allow Silksong to come out and people could get the chance to finally play Silksong. That is like camaraderie at its finest. And then when the game came out, it fucking it had literally the whole fucking networks from Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo stores fucking crashed. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. People waited so long, and to see that it wasn't canceled, and it got a chance to have a voice, and it won some awards at the Game Awards show, really speaks to the fandom of this small little team, but also like the perseverance of the developers to get this game out. They waited long enough, and their asses were praised. Another great shit is Silent Hill. This one touched me so much. Silent Hill F finally came out, and it was a pretty damn good game. I didn't get the chance to play it, but I only watched one playthrough of the game just to get an idea of what it was. And man, I gotta say, man, Konami kind of cooked. They made a cool ass game, man. And I gotta admit, I really gotta figure out how the story concludes, because like it is so creepy, it's so disturbing, but it's really talking about some heavy topics that I think Silent Hill always does a great job of talking about. So it's great to have Silent Hill back next to Resident Evil. It was the king of next to Resident Evil, the double threat of horror games, and to see that it came back and it's living up to that to its legacy is kind of cool. And also the cool thing they announced is that one of the coolest announcements, I know a lot of people probably like scratching their heads or kind of like upset, was that we're getting Silent Hill 1 remake, and this is going to be done by the Bloober team. And I'm just kind of like, okay, they proved that they got somewhat of a good understanding of Silent Hill 3. Silent Hill 2, I should say. Let's let them do Silent Hill 1. I'll give them their respect and let them cook. I think they got this in their hands. They shown what they could do, so give them some time. And that was a cool announcement. That was another cool announcement this year. All the Resident Evil games, the classic ones, so Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3 are all now available on PlayStation Network. That was a huge win for the Resident Evil community. We've been begging and pleading for more accessibility in terms of being able to play the original Resident Evil games, because Capcom and all its genius thought it was a good idea to say that, oh, well, the remakes are more the definitive edition of these games, and it's the one that we prefer you guys to play. And I'm just like, that's cool and all, but there's just people who prefer the OG games. And if you're going to allow Resident Evil 4 Remake to exist alongside Resident Evil 4 the original, like, if you're going to have that coexist, why can't those original games coexist together? So I'm glad that they allowed this to happen. I'm very, very, very happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm fucking ecstatic for this. That was like a cool ass announcement. Also, the Steam machine, when one falls, we continue. A fucking company comes out, Steam takes over, and is like, okay, if Microsoft don't want to get in the game of console business, we're getting in. So we get the Steam machine. I love this announcement because hopefully, if it's priced right, this will be a great competitor and a great way to get people into Steam and get them into like the PC gaming market and figuring out like, oh, what makes a PC so fascinating to the point where they want to go out and build their own PC. Hopefully, you do that before the shit prices raise, but that's the second point. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this new system is gonna do for gaming. Like, honestly, again, competition breeds innovation. So again, we really can't have like a Xbox situation where they don't want to do anything. And so Steam coming up and be like, hey, we're gonna step up to the plate and compete, I think is great. I think the Steam Deck is already a cool ass shit. And now this, I think, can also be cool. So this announcement was also cool. But to me, my favorite fucking announcement, my favorite announcement of 2025 was the fucking Marvel tokon announcement. That was probably my favorite announcement. I had no idea this was in the works or anything. My reaction was, it was so scattershot. It was like someone fried my brain and I was drooling through the mouth and I could not even think about what the fuck was going on. I was livid on what the fuck was going on. I was so livid on what the fuck was going on with this announcement, what I was seeing on screen. And it led, funny enough, into me being able to play the game before everybody else, because I went to EVO. And EVO was an amazing experience. This is something I wanted to do ever since I was a kid, and I've seen like the competitive side of the fighting game. And man, it felt so welcoming, meeting people, got to talk to a few people, got to talk to a lot of people from the fucking Virtual Fighter community and seeing how that game is worked. I got to see CVS, SNK versus versus Capcom versus SNK 2 be played competitively, and of course, I got to go to the finals, and I got to see Marvel versus Capcom 2 be played on the biggest screen at EVO, the place of all places, and get to see fucking the most craziest match, the game that I grew up with, the game that really got me into fighting games, next to Tekken. I got to watch that plus Tekken 8 both get played on the big screen, and that to me just touches me. It fills me with so much heart. I talk all about it in my video of me going to EVO, so please go watch that video if you have not. But it was such a good moment. Literally, as soon as I walked in there, I was just like starstruck. I got to meet, or I got to like at least spot some of my favorite YouTubers, in particular Maximilian. It was so good. It was such a magical moment, and I will treasure going to EVO and what it did for me this year, man. It was such a touching, good feel moment for me. One of my favorite moments of the year, if I had to be honest. On a funnier note, one of my favorite YouTubers, fucking Black Hokage. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I can't believe he actually came up with this. He probably stole it from somebody else, but came up with the ball and gun gamers, which is basically people who only play guns and balls, and basically made it into a slur. And I love how it just blew up so big. It's so popular. Now it's like a fucking insult. It's like a slur. Oh my god. And that was the funniest highlight of 2025 for me, is that saying. Like, shout outs to my boy Black Hokage for coming up with that shit, because I legitimately know people who like the ball and gun gamers, and it was really, really funny to see, you know, this shit, man. I'm really livid over that shit, over that name, man. And then Game Informers out of nowhere just comes back from the dead. Game Informers was previously gone and was shut down, but new leadership took over, and yeah, they just been continuing what they've been always doing, reporting on the news, giving out cool ass cover pieces that I love. I still own my fucking like Spider-Man PS4, the cover art for it that I fucking love so much, with one of my favorite artists, fucking Alex Ross, motherfucker, Alex Ross. All right. So I still own that, and man, like, it's so cool to see that they're still back and kicking and back into action. Also want to give like a huge shout out to the Stop Killing Games movement. Like, that movement was so fucking awesome. Basically, 180k signatures were signed and given to the UK government to basically stop delisting games that you already own. And I think that was such a cool way to like really preserve games. It didn't pan out, but I really want to give everyone their salute and my compliments to them for doing that. So I'm gonna put that as a good moment in gaming, like all of us banding together to get gaming, stop these companies from not at least offering an offline mode for some of these games, especially the online games. Like, truly amazing stuff. It just goes to show me that what video games and what we as a company, what we as I said as a company, oh god, what we as gamers can be when we work together on some shit. And you know, even though it failed, you know, I gotta give these guys nothing but salute for fighting a good cause. But with all that being said, you're probably saying to yourself, well, MrDegenerate, what was the games you played? And also, what was your game of the year? Well, hold on. Hold your Hershey's, my little degenerates. I'm finally going to get to all of that. The games I played of 2025 were games that, as I always do, probably wasn't released on 2025, but are just games I'm finally getting to, or I finally had time to play. So to kick things off, the first game I played in 2025 was Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I finally wanted to give it a shot after hearing a few of the reviews and whatnot, and also just my overarching fear of how that game was going to turn out. And suffice it to say, after 15 or maybe 13 hours of playing it, I just dropped it. I did not like any of the characters, and to be honest, to me, that is the pillar of what makes a Dragon Age game is their characters. And if I'm struggling to connect with characters, that just proves to me that your writing is just not good. Because in every Dragon Age game and in every Mass Effect game, I've always been able to connect with a character. Even Mass Effect Andromeda, I was able to connect with that team. I just didn't have the love for them that I had with the original Mass Effect crew. And this game I just didn't fit, so I dropped that. Then we finally move on to Monster Hunter Wilds. the first week, I was enjoying myself up until, holy shit, that fucking the PC port is not that great. I don't know what is with Capcom and the RE engine not being able to do like very like open world games, but there's something about the RE engine that doesn't lend itself really good for open world. But as for the whole game as a whole, it's more of like, I felt like the game was a little too easy based off of what I played of the game. And again, I didn't even beat the story because of the optimization being so piss poor. And they said they're not fixing it until later this February. Hopefully they do fix it, but man, I had to drop it. But I am looking forward to going back to it after Resident Evil 9 comes out. Then I played Assassin's Creed Shadows. That was a game that I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was actually pleasantly surprised on how much fun I was having with that game. Playing Nawe was really cool. She felt more like a shinobi-esque character. And I was really enjoying her gameplay a lot. And I just quit playing the game when I got to Yasuke. I'm sorry, Yasuke was just not it for me. I just felt like his gameplay was just not Assassin's Creed. In fact, there's no point of traversing the world with Yasuke because a lot of the time I just felt like he couldn't jump over stuff or climb over stuff the way how Nawe could. And I was just kind of like, no, I don't care. Maybe one day I'll go back to the game, but considering the fact that they had DLC planned for it and they canceled it because the Attack on Titans DLC was such a train wreck, I don't care to go back to this game. I just felt like for me with Assassin's Creed Shadow is too little too late in my humble opinion, although they did find a way to make it stand out against Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yote with having a more of a shinobi gameplay. I just didn't feel myself really connected all too much. So that game is getting dropped, and I'm probably never going back to it. I think I'm kind of done with Assassin's Creed, and I just accept that. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of my favorite video games of all time because of the amount of stuff you can do in that game, the amount of Easter eggs there in that game, and it has, to me, the best Metal Gear story told. It really makes you understand why Big Boss became the way how he became. So I've always loved Metal Gear Solid 3. It's in my top 5 favorite video games of all time. But the remake is everything I kind of hate and despise about remakes. Is when you just take the game and you don't reinterpret it in any type of way, not reimagining it. And I know people's gonna say like, oh well, we don't want that. We want just a copy and paste version of what we had before with prettier graphics. But I'm just kind of sitting there, it's like, do you really need that? Because we have the HD, the Master Collection, and that comes with Metal Gear Solid 3. And you can, if you're playing on a PC, you can mod it, and you can do all these crazy shit that people have been doing and make it look better and whatnot. So I'm like, why the fuck are we doing a remake? And you're doing this remake, but you didn't reinterpret any of the story. You didn't do anything. There's some fun little cute moments, like one of the Easter eggs is like some of the calendar girls that's in the game. They actually found them again, and they actually got them to do new pictures for the game as how they are now. And one of them is actually like a mom now, so I thought that was really cool. And again, the gameplay is now you can move and crouch at the same time. In the original game, you couldn't really do that. But when you do stuff like that, and you just have the AI be the same fucking AI that they were in the original game, well, it just breaks stuff. You didn't elevate the game. You just copied and paste what was originally there and just modify it and just simplified it for more easier audience. So again, it just felt like the collection just felt like this remake was just made for people who didn't want to go back and play the old game and just want people to shut up and just go play the remake. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I personally would have preferred a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake that is actually like a reimagining, or even if you don't want to do a reimagining, because we had that with Metal Gear Solid 1, the Twin Snakes, you know, that could have been an okay remake. That's just HD graphics. So I don't know. It wasn't bad, but I just kind of was like, yeah, nah, it's not for me. Then we have a game that I've never even played before, Resident Evil 0, to get started on my marathon leading up to Resident Evil 9. My first time actually playing Resident Evil 0. And I gotta say, this is gonna be a hot take. I actually like this game a lot. I like the characterization of Rebecca. Like, she's timid but confident. So I really love that about her. I like Billy a lot. I really like their dynamic. I wish they would lean into it more in the game. Like, can we really trust Billy? Like, he murdered people and whatnot. He has a shady backstory. He's a criminal. Should we really trust him? But in this situation, we kind of have to trust him. I really like that. And it also goes in a little bit more into the lore of Resident Evil, which we hang out. We actually meet one of the CEOs of Umbrella, which is, I believe, is Marcus. And he's with the whole leech virus stuff. So that's kind of cool. I was like, oh, this is dope. I think the thing that holds it back, though, and what really irritates me with this game is no item box. This is one time, and I don't like doing this, but I would highly recommend, if you're gonna play this game and you're playing it on the PC, try to get the mod that like gives you an item box when you go to the save areas, because holy shit, this shit is ass. Like, this shit is garbage. It was just like, it was so annoying to not have an item box and you can just drop items anywhere you want, but then like picking up items is like fucking annoying. I do love the puzzles. Like, some puzzles you have to be away from Billy, or Rebecca has to be away, and you have to solve things together. And you know, the co-op aspect is really, to me, is really nice. Like, Rebecca's good at healing, but she can't take that much damage, while Billy can't heal and mix herbs, but he's the best fighter. So for me, I always took Billy to every encounter. I took Billy into every encounter that I could, and Rebecca, I just played it like, oh, this is not any time to fight. It's time to fucking cut and run, and have her hold certain items or keys that I needed. Again, once you start getting into the meta of this game, I think it works really well. It's just those little minor inconvenience that was already figured out in other Resident Evil games. It's just weird. So yeah, that was my first time playing it. And yeah, that was cool. Another game I played in 2025 before wrapping up was Resident Evil 1 OG. I finally replayed that game after years of not playing it. Finally played it because it was on GOG, and I did all the mods where you can do the HD mods and everything, make it look really fucking nice. It looks really cool. But yeah, I finally played it, and the controls fucking suck. And the camera angles can sometimes be a fucking nuisance. Again, I know people probably like this, but I'm coming as someone who is replaying this after years of not playing it, and I couldn't fucking stand it. Having said that, once you get into the groove of things, I actually think this game is really, really fun. It's actually very short. Like, I beat it in almost like 4 hours with Jill's campaign. Jill's campaign, and then with Chris, I beat that in like 3 hours because I already knew where to go and whatnot, and also had help using guide. But I really like what they did with this game. This game has some funny fucking dialogue. The dialogue in OG 1 Resident Evil is fucking hilarious. It is so hilarious. It's charming to the point. It's like, and this is why I could say I don't understand how anybody could say this game is scary or terrifying or intense, because I didn't feel that way until like playing Chris, and maybe people was playing Chris campaign first. But that's the only time I was like getting a like, I gotta make sure I save. But you know, those were the only time. There was only like one time I had that with Chris campaign where I was like, fuck, I better go find a save to go save. Oh, do I have enough ink ribbons? Oh, I have enough ink ribbons. Let's do this. Like just these little certain things that made the game kind of cool. It gave you that intense feeling. I never say I was scared, but I will say there were many moments where I was just like, man, I gotta find a typewriter. I gotta find an ink ribbon. This game gives you shit ton of ammo, by the way, whether you're playing as Chris or Jill. Both campaigns are easy. It's just how you go about getting certain items and getting certain equipment and puzzles and tackling certain puzzles is gonna depend on which character you're playing. Chris doesn't get certain things until later on. Jill gets things very easily. Like just a good balanced game. I really gotta commend the team. But I think what really just holds this game back is really just its fucking its dialogue and the controls, and the camera can sometimes be a pain in the ass. And I'm really talking about the control. The controls are really rough, and yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. But I enjoyed my time with it, and I am looking forward to playing and revisiting all the Resident Evil games before Resident Evil 9 comes out. So that was a treat. Then I played Ghosts of Yotei, the sequel to one of my favorite games of 2020, my game of the year. So a lot was riding on this game to be good, and I gotta say, Ghosts of Yotei is pretty fucking cool. It is pretty dope. I didn't beat it. I got halfway through. I know one of my friends is like, you're close to a big twist in the game, but I just stopped because it just felt like more of the same, and that's not necessarily anything wrong. It isn't like a Spider-Man 2 situation where it's just like it's more of the same. And yeah, they elevated, but there's still some stuff you could do more. This felt like, they just decided, hey, let's just add on to what we already know. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, but I just wasn't super captivated about where the story was going, because Assassin's Creed Shadow also had a similar story about revenge, so both of them kind of clashed for me. I was like, I will say the presentation and how they're telling the story and how they're using the samurai like slow pace film style is what's like making it interesting. But I just didn't finish it, but I am looking forward to finishing it. I did buy the collector's edition, so I am gonna finish it, but just not right now. That one is on pause until I beat all the Resident Evil games. And then moving on, we got my game, fucking Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. This is a game was so fun. I beat it on normal and I beat it on hard. That's how much I like this fucking game, where you can just like bounce off of enemies and slice in the middle of the air and just keep moving. This game is is more focused on speed running to get to the ending of the level while completing objectives in a super strict time limit. And I really appreciate it, and I love that this game does something that I've never really seen before. Is that this game has like, actually I have seen it before, where you can penalize yourself, you can upgrade yourself, and make yourself more vulnerable, more stronger, more invincible. Or what you could do is penalize yourself. So like if you fall down a ditch in a game, like it sends you back to the beginning of the level. Or if you die, it sends you back to the beginning of the level. Or if you get to a checkpoint area, it doesn't heal you. It just sends you to the checkpoint. Enemies do extra damage, but when you do that, you get extra ranking points added up to your final score when you beat the level. I thought that was really fucking genius. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh wow, that is super cool. And again, I really also love the fucking banter between the ninja, the two ninjas that you have, one that Ryu's training, and the one from the Dragon Ninjas clan. That's cool. That's something that they haven't really done in the Ninja Gaiden game, is have the rival clans work together to take down an evil foe. That was cool. So I enjoyed every single minute of it. Again, this game I played like fucking 2 times just to do everything. And I was so hyped. I was so hyped about this game. Moving on. Meanwhile, I'm here. I might as well also talk about Shinobi. I am literally gushing about this game. This game was like the complete opposite. This game said, fuck all that running shit. It's time to throw some fucking hands. And the cool thing about this game is that not only are you doing all these awesome fucking combos and all this stuff, is that it also has Metroidvania element where it's like when you leave an area or you go to an area, some of it is locked and some of it is not even done. You can't progress until you get a particular item and whatnot. That was cool. But the main thing I love about this game is the combat. I was geeking out with some of the cool moves you can do in this game. And this game, and the same thing goes for Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, but this game in particular moves smooth as butter. The animations and the way how Joe moves, fucking awesome. Can't wait. I would love for a sequel to this game. That's how fucking awesome this game was. And then I played Lost Soul Aside. I made a whole video on Lost Soul Aside. And again, I'm going to be the odd man out of the conversation. But personally, for me personally, I enjoyed Lost Soul Aside. I thought it had a lot of good potential. I'm sad to hear that the company, the people who, Young Bing, who's working on next project, is going to be more of a Souls-like game. I don't care, because what he had right here was really interesting and really fun. It just needed a lot more time in the oven. But what he did have, and the story is just like whatever, but what he did have in terms of combat was really fucking cool. And I enjoyed it all the way up to the end. I just was like, man, this needed more time in the oven, and I really wish I could, if I had the chance, I would talk to him and be like, yo, bro, you got something cool here. Hopefully in the next game you could do it. But, this game had a lot of heart, a lot of heart. I ain't never seen no developer come out and be like, yeah, like, this is my first game, and I got a whole team together, and I was funded by Sony, and, I was just so pleased about this game. But go check it out. Go check out my video and find out why I call it a game that has a lot of heart despite its flaws. But then we get into the real fucking, the real character action game, baby. Fucking Ninja Gaiden fucking 4. This game was almost my game of the year. I was like I was livid when I was playing this game. Halfway through this game, this is how I know I was enjoying myself. Because there's a gauntlet of waves of enemies coming at you in one level where they keep respawning because you have to kill the tower. Kill like the portal that's opening up and letting more monsters in. And I'm getting swarmed by fucking enemies, bro. And the whole time I'm getting swarmed, have this cheesy fucking smile while I'm in Zen mode. When this game kicks ass, it kicks ass. This game had me smiling from beginning to end. Like, I was just cheesing how much I love this game. This game proves to me that fucking Platinum got it. They still got that heat in them, baby. Like, this game was fucking so much fun. Yakumo was so much fun. He has so much cool moves and shit with his Blood Raven move. Yeah, there are annoying parts about this game. Like, I think sometimes the hit contention can be a little wonky because sometimes I'll dodge out of the way and I still get hit. And I'm like, what the fuck? But this game was brutal, like what a Ninja Gaiden game is supposed to be. But when you get into Zen mode and you're doing cool combos off, and you're flipping off an enemy, jumping off, doing fucking Azuna dropping motherfuckers into fucking ultimate DDTs and shit. I was like, bro, this game, I had the biggest smile. And then the game is like, hold on, motherfucker, hold on. You think this shit is it? You think this fucking game is it? Motherfucker, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Ryu Hayabusa coming in, baby. When you get to play as Ryu, God, this is a critique, but I shouldn't be smiling at this because I was like, motherfucker, y'all got so lazy with Ryu. Ryu is so fucking broken. He is fucking unga bunga broken in this game, and I was like, no, I don't want my Ryu to be like that. I don't want him to be busted. I don't want him to be dumb. I don't want him to be stupid. But then I'm playing this game and I'm like, motherfucker. Oh my goodness, motherfucker. Ryu is doing some of the coolest shit ever. Oh my god. You just feel like the fucking master ninja when you play as Ryu. Ryu's segments are fucking... like, it's so short, but man, you just feel so powerful. Jesus Christ. And then, his final level, they play his fucking theme song. This is how I know fucking Team Ninja was smoking some, not Team Ninja, Platinum Games was smoking some shit when they was making this fucking game. Because this game literally has his theme song playing in the background, but throughout the whole time it's playing it, it's an homage to NES, his NES theme. It's an homage to his Ninja Gaiden reboot game. It's an homage to Ninja Gaiden 2, and an homage to his theme in Ninja Gaiden 3. And I was just sitting there like, motherfucker, these guys cooked. Holy shit, bro. I'm just sitting there like, we peaked. I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, whoever thought that was a good idea to put that in the final level was great. I have tons of complaints about the game. I am not as hard on the game as like the hardcore Ninja Gaiden fans, because let's face it, none of the Ninja Gaiden hardcore fans were gonna like this game the moment they heard Hideaki wasn't making it, and fucking Team Ninja wasn't making it. To me, this game is Team Ninja, not Platinum Games Ninja Gaiden, their interpretation of Ninja Gaiden. And I had a fun time. I have problems with it that I do want to make a video of. One particular problem with Ryu and his levels. This game felt like, and I'm just going to say it right now, this game felt a lot like fucking Ninja Gaiden. I mean, felt like Devil May Cry 4. and even just how the story is paced and everything reminds me a lot of MrDegenerate 4. But yeah, I enjoyed it from start to finish. I even went back and played some of it on Master Ninja difficulty just to see how that difficulty is. Man, I was like, phew, I was sweating. So overall, it's an amazing game. It would have won my game of the year. It would have easily won game of the year for me. If it wasn't for the one fucking game that fucking had me losing my mind, had me thinking about it ever since the credits rolled, ever since I saw both endings, had me like literally tearing the fuck up, had me swollen. And when it won Game of the Year, I was like tearing up when they won the Game of the Year. It's no secret, Exposition 33 is my Game of the Year. And the reason I'm giving it my Game of the Year, why I think is Game of the Year, easily Game of the Year, is the storytelling of the game. The storytelling of Exposition 33 is so fucking good. It's so strong. And again, I said this before in my video, but this story was written by Reddit fucking user. Alright? A Reddit user had no credit beforehand doing writing or whatever, wrote this story. And it's the most fantastic story about grief and what grief does to people, what it does to a family, what reality versus illusions, and what we perceive is real and what we hold value in those said illusions. All of this is blended into an amazing game with tight fucking gameplay, like generally some great RPG mechanics that really honestly allows you to build whatever build you want in the game, but also if you want to just parry your way to victory, you can. All of this, and plus an amazing soundtrack that up to this day I still listen to me makes Exposition 33 my Game of the Year. Now, I don't want to talk so much about the game, but I gotta say, also the characters, all of them, from Verso to Grimoire to the villains, everybody is so well compelled, and you understand everyone and why they are the way how they are, and they are written beneficent to the point where it's just like, generally speaking, this is the reason why both endings made me cry. Because I'm too emotionally attached to these fuckers. This game is the prime example of what gaming should be right now. A $30 to $40 game with full release content, day one, with amazing story, amazing music, an ensemble, great cast, good voice acting, and to top it all off, gave us free DLC because just as a thank you to the team, I couldn't be more happy about this game. I am going to talk more about it because I do want to talk about those endings because I do think those endings speak to us as people, and I really want to touch on those endings because I do think they say a lot about us as human beings and what we hold dear to us. And it's just phenomenal. From beginning to end, this game was phenomenal, and that is why it's my Game of the Year. Straight up, from beginning to end, just a fantastic fucking game. And I guess that's gonna do it for the video. But before I go, I just want to say these final words about 2025. if I could sum up 2025 and ask the simple question, did video games become a rich man hobby? I would think yes. I would say after seeing all the price raises of consoles, through basically Microsoft raising their prices but also shutting down games and not really delivering that much this year, through Sony and also Nintendo doing some questionable things like Nintendo literally trying to charge us $80 for a fucking Mario Kart world game, which is crazy in my humble opinion. To Sony fucking realizing now they fucked up with buying Bungie, and Bungie hasn't really delivered them anything, and in fact, it's really led to their fucking downfall more than not. To just companies just losing a bunch of companies like Monolith Studios, like the Perfect Dark Studio, bunch of different studios being shut down and closed, and a lot of stuff getting bought out. So yes, I do think the video game landscape is getting more expensive. But then I play games and I see games like Exposition 33, like Hollow Knight, Silksong, even Hades 2. Hell, fucking an amazing Telltale game that isn't even done by Telltale anymore. Dispatch showed us that, you know, not every game needs to be this big, bombastic, crazy shit. It don't need to be these big, bloated, budget fucking games. All you gotta do is just let these developers create some amazing stuff, trust their audience, and you will be rewarded. And you saw that with Exposition 33. You saw that with so many games this year that will cost less than the big budget games, and they strive, I would say, even better than the big budget game. That's gonna do it for my video. If you're new to the channel, just let me know. What was your favorite moment of 2025? I know this video is going on very long, but I just want to know, what do you think of 2025? Comment below, let me know. And as always, more videos are coming soon. It's your boy, MrDegenerate, signing out. Have a good one and Happy New Year. I'll see you on the flip side.